Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Battery. Sing along with us. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I love you and I love you. It's a great song about Eddie Watkins Jr. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. So welcome everybody, feeling good today? Welcome everybody online, watching us on Facebook Live, joining us, sing with us too, you guys. Now look at the person next to you. Yep. Say, I recognize the God in you. Yeah. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you, yeah. Say namaste, I bow to you. Come on now, feel the love in the sanctuary. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. So take just a moment to say hello to your spiritual family. Y'all with some hugs and handshakes. Take a look at the person next to you. Beautiful day here in Metairie, Louisiana. We welcome you to Unity of Metairie, a place of beautiful spiritual seekers. We honor all religions, all lifestyles, all spiritual paths. Wherever you are, there God is, and so welcome. Everyone here in this building and everyone that's joining us online on Facebook, we welcome you as well. So just sit back with your coffee and you're in your pajamas. We're all jealous because we have to be dressed up enough. Please join in with us as well if you're watching online. We appreciate you joining our spiritual community wherever you may be today. I'm Jack Fowler. I'm the spiritual director here with this wonderful group of people. Let's all just take a deep breath and become centered here and now in this moment. As best you can, begin to let go of all the running around you might have done, anything you might need to do later, anything that might have happened. Just bring all of your energy here and now to this beautiful moment. This is the only moment that we have, and we're so grateful that we have come together in the name of love, to love each other, to support each other, recognizing that divine presence in each other, just as this beautiful song by Eddie Watkins says, Namaste. The presence of God in me honors and respects the presence of God in you. So for this we say thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this time together. If you're here for the first time, we welcome you. However you found us, welcome. And hopefully you've got one of these packets already. It tells a little bit about what Unity does here locally and what we do around the world. We're a global organization that's just right about 130 years old. And many people have come before us that have held up these ideas and these truths, and we're grateful to our heritage. We're turning 40 years old here at Unity of Metairie in June. So I hope you have that on your calendar already, June 10th. And as I said, Unity as an organization has been around for quite a while, and we're so grateful to everyone that's come before us. Also, if you're here for the first time, please take a moment and fill out this little card that's on the back of the packet, and you can drop that into the offering at the end of the service. If you wouldn't mind doing that, just tell us what you thought about being here with us. So, welcome everybody. Take just a moment and silence your cell phones, if you might do that, and pagers and beepers and any of those other things we carry around these days as we create a sacred space together.
Today I'm going to be talking more about visioning and how we're moving forward with our spiritual community, creating a more clearer vision. I'm also going to be talking about the fact that this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be joyful. This is supposed to be a wonderful time of expression for all of us. Sometimes we take all this spirituality stuff a little too seriously. So speaking of fun and joy and wonderfulness, we got some awesome kids here today, y'all. Man, they've just taken over the singing in the morning. They just were up here singing their hearts out. You guys were so great today. Thank you for helping us to sing. That was awesome. As we do every Sunday, we're going to bless these kids. And as we give them this blessing, we send a blessing to children all around the world. May they recognize who they are as beloved expressions of life. No matter where they live, no matter what their life circumstances, we send them love, healing, and understanding. And for these kids here, say with me together, children of light, we bless you. We see you loved, guided, and protected by God's presence. And New Orleans style, we love you hard, hard, hard. We swear to God. All right, y'all, they're going to go to the back and have some fun with the kids' room. Don't forget to share the word that we have this awesome youth program that happens every Sunday at 11 o'clock while we have our gathering out in this room. Thank you to all the teachers and Paul and Brenda for always organizing and having a wonderful idea prepared for our kids. So once again, let's just become present, breathing in, bringing all of your energy, focusing here and now into this place. Knowing that we have been brought together for a holy purpose. There are no mistakes in the mind of God. This group of people in this space and this time will never ever happen exactly like this again. So this is a holy, sacred, and special time. For that we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. As we come together in the name of love to support one another, to see that divine presence in each other. And for this time together with our spiritual family, I am so grateful. There's nowhere I'd rather be than with my spiritual family on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning as we begin our service by listening to these beautiful ideas from the Daily Word.
Sunday, May 20th, 2018. Today's Daily Word is Divine Expression. In truth, I cannot fail. My divine nature, the truth of who I am, is not simply a presence within me. It's the very essence of every cell in my body, every thought in my mind. A sense of failure in any undertaking is a fear-based thought in my mortal mind. It has no reality in spiritual truth. Whatever the appearance may be, there is always a lesson. A spiritual awareness that will support and encourage me as I make future choices. As long as I remember to claim the good in every choice I make, there can be no failure in my life experience. Today, I welcome every opportunity to make a creative choice that perfectly expresses my true spiritual self. Today's daily word was taken from a scripture in Romans 8:5. It says, "For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on the things of Spirit."
Beautiful words that are full of truth. Seems like we have some gremlins going on. Can we figure out what's going on back there? Is it from one certain channel or just kind of overall? So we need to send some healing to this this sound system today. You know, sometimes you expect things to go a certain way and they don't, but it's all good. So we'll just let that be. Seriously, send some healing energy to whatever energy is trying to reveal itself, all those noises and everything, as we try to go into a sense of meditation. You know, I love the fact that we have our time of meditation every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I would encourage you to join us. And that has been such a time of learning for me, because in this building we have no control over what happens outside or the noises above us. And I've been doing this meditation, leading it for 5 years, and I remember in the beginning I would get just so irritated if somebody like dropped something upstairs, even the tiniest little thing. And last year was the pinnacle whenever the guy decided he was going to weed eat right at 6 p.m., right when we had meditation time. And it really has taught me that it's just like life. Everything happens. We make that part of our experience. We make whatever's happening around us, we integrate that into who we are. And we just allow things to be as they are. That's actually the way to find peace, is just allowing the people around us to be who they are, allowing things that happen to be as they are, and especially allowing the world to be as it is without resistance. So we just breathe in this beautiful moment. We come together, opening our hearts, opening our minds, because we are here. We have come into the very presence of God. We come together in this moment as one magnificent presence. We come together in this moment. We bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. We come together in this moment. We bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. One creation, undivided. One creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. Recognizing that within us, in this moment, not in the future, but in this very moment, there is something within you that is so powerful, so loving, so peaceful, so magnificent. No matter what you have been told until this point, the only truth about you is that you are a holy child of God, created in the image and likeness of love. You are the beloved, and that power is within you now. It's not next week. It's not when certain things happen and goals happen in our life, but right now, within you, there is a magnificent presence that loves you and adores you. Some of us call this the Christ presence, as it was so exemplified by Jesus, Buddha, others that have shown us this light. but have also told us that we ourselves are that same light, the light of the world. This morning we light our Christ candle, which is a representation of this one light, this one power. Sometimes we ask ourselves, now life doesn't always feel that way. I don't always feel powerful. I don't always feel this presence of love and peace. For many of us, the reason for that is that we fail to go within where this actual peace and power is, because it is not found in the world. It is not found in any relationship, any earthly possession. It is within us. It is at the core of who we are. It is our essential self. And we use this candle as a symbol of this light, of this self, which waits in the silence, in the invisible. I would invite you to move with me for a few moments into that space within, through stillness, quietness. Sometimes we call this meditation, prayer. Whatever we call it, it is the most important thing that we will ever do. Turn our thoughts away from the temporary world. Turn our thoughts away from the circumstances of our life and look within at the magnificence that is there. You were literally created in the image and likeness of God, powerful beyond measure. Your true essential self is found within, in the invisible. It transcends your physical body. It transcends any circumstances in your life. It transcends anything that has ever happened in this world. That's where we meet our true self, our essential self, within, in the stillness, in the silence. So I invite you to relax as best you can in this moment. Begin to consciously watch your breath, breathing in deeply. Sometimes just taking a moment and breathing deeply can bring us to a space of peace and stillness. As best you can, bring all of your attention and focus to this space, this room, right here, right now. As you continue to consciously watch your breath, allow your body to relax. Everything will get done. Everything's going to work out like it should. So just give yourself permission to be still. Give yourself permission to relax into this moment. Feel your body become loose. Release any tension in your legs, your abdomen. Feel your shoulders gently drop. Release any tension in your forehead, your neck. Feel yourself becoming lighter, lighter. Being present here, now, in this holy moment. If you do become distracted, just bring your attention back to your breath. watching this holy breath. See your breath as the breath of God, breathing life within you. As your body continues to become still and relaxed, take a moment to see what thoughts may be there in your mind. Maybe some chatter, maybe some worry, thoughts about the schedule, what we're going to do later, or maybe something that happened this week. As you try to become still, realize how much space this stream of thought takes up in your mind, how much energy it takes up. Also realizing that you have the choice and the power for your mind to become still and empty and open. If a thought shows up, just allow it to be. And allow it to fall into the emptiness from where it came. And begin to wait for that sacred space between your thoughts. This gap. This holy, sacred space. In the emptiness. In the silence. In the stillness. For here you find God. You find yourself. Here. In the nothingness. In the invisible. Here is where we find peace. Stillness. In this holy, sacred space, this is where miracles happen, where transformation happens. This is where inspiration comes from, creativity, solutions, and most importantly, the remembrance of who you really are. Timeless, ageless, forever loving, forever loved, held forever by grace, safe in the mind of God. So allow yourself to completely surrender to the stillness, to the quiet, to the sacred space within. Moving into the silence. sacred, holy space that is still and divine. May our hearts be open. May our minds be open to hear something new, to know something new. May the true self that we are be revealed from this place of silence. Everything we need to know is right here. And we are thankful to you, our magnificent Creator, for creating us just as you. May we remember and awaken and know that in spite of whatever appears to be happening in our life, that all is well. For you have made it so. And nothing can change what God has created whole, perfect, and complete. Thank you for being patient with us as we sometimes hold a limited version of ourselves. And thank you for holding this perfect vision of who we are. And for this time together, we say thank you, Spirit, thank you, God, knowing that every encounter is a holy encounter, and we have come together here for a holy purpose. And so it is. Amen and amen. I'm ready to go home now. Good morning, everybody. Morning. Well, whatever little gremlin tried to show its face, I think we ran him off. So. Or else our wonderful Everett back here, who sits back there quietly and keeps everything going, which we appreciate so much. Y'all, let's give Everett a hand back here. He got his I have to embarrass him every now and then. He said he got his once-a-year summer haircut. No, he just said his once-a-year haircut. So I got my little once-a-year haircut too. And we welcome everyone that's watching us online today. Thank you for being a part of our spiritual community, because we do think of you as part of us, as an extension of ourselves. Thank you for watching wherever you may be and joining in on the songs, and thank you for all the wonderful comments that you leave, and thank you for being here with us today, because you are part of our community. The other day I was walking through the French Quarter, and I saw a guy that looked probably like he was Buddhist. He had the Buddhist robes on, and was walking through, and he went to a Lucky Dog stand. And I thought, well, that's weird. I thought most Buddhists were vegan. And I know there's nothing vegan at the Lucky Dog stand. But I knew what he was up to when he went to the Lucky Dog stand and said, "Make me one with everything." It's a joke. It's not true. It's not true. I just love that little joke. Make me one with everything. I did see, and I spoke about it, but it's been about 4 or 5 years ago, and as I'm telling that silly joke, it reminds me of how cultures clash, because a couple of years ago, I was walking through the French Quarter, and it was just this weird juxtaposition where I did see looked like a Buddhist monk or some type of monk, with all the robes. He wasn't like in costume. Sometimes in the quarter you're not sure if somebody's dressing up or, what's up. And he was walking through. It was so strange because, he had everything going on, and he was looking at an iPad. And just something about that was like, just kind of, I mean, of course a monk would use an iPad. Why not? It was just the thought of like, I can just see him like in the Himalayas in India with an iPad, you know, searching online while he's communicating with the divine. So, but anyway, we continue, and I'm continuing to talk today. It's kind of a couple of things. There's a mishmash of things because I like to just talk about what's real for me and what's on my mind, and I'm not really good at like taking a topic and fabricating some neat sounding stuff about it. I just like to talk about what's happening, and I continue to be experiencing what it means to really vision for me personally. And it's really transforming me in ways I can't even yet describe. The physical manifestation of it is happening in the perfect time that it should happen, but I'm just now, I think, getting a grasp on the power of our thoughts, especially our imagination, our vision, our self-talk. Wow, our self-talk is so important. And you know, we spend a lot of time talking to ourselves. You know that? I mean, you talk to yourself all day long. And I realize that myself, and probably many of you, say things to yourself that you wouldn't say to your enemy. If you had an enemy, you know, just use as an example. We have such self-talk, and it's so important because no thoughts are idle. You know, no thoughts are idle. And for me, visioning has become like a 24/7 thing. I've become conscious of it in a way I never had before. I've become very vigilant, and it's been sometimes difficult, but now it's happened more naturally. I've become very vigilant about what I allow into my mind, into the real estate of my mind. Because you know, you can think of your mind as real estate, and what kind of property is there? And I've become very vigilant about what I'm actually thinking about. And also thinking about what do I really want from my life, and putting all those things together, continuing to listen to Neville Goddard. And a couple of you have come to me and said, wow, I've never heard of this guy, and now I find all this. He's got tons of YouTube videos. It's just audio of him into video. But this was his thing. And he has been inspiring me so much. You know, we find stuff exactly when we need it. For years, I didn't even know about this person. And probably, well, I know it's not probably, for sure, if I would have ran into these videos 6 months ago or a year ago, they would not mean what they mean to me now. I mean, things come to us exactly when we need them. So this guy, and once again, thank you everyone that's been sharing with me. Like, I listened to this and it really, you know, really just gave me a lot of clarity about what visioning is. And if you weren't here the last few weeks, I'll just quickly say, Neville Goddard is his name. He believed a simple fact, and he believed it. It was his message over and over and over again. Almost every talk he ever did was about this in some form or another. But he believed firmly that God is simply our imagination. God is simply our imagination. Now that may seem kind of weird or almost sacrilegious because, you know, God should be this loving presence. But within us, in every moment, there's this powerful cycle of creation that is happening. And it's informing everything around our world. It's informing how things come to us. It informs what kind of relationships we have. It informs what's in our bank account. It informs what's in our relationship account. It informs everything about us. And this is his thing, and he talks about it so clearly, and it's the perfect thing for me to hear. You know, really, sometimes it's difficult being a speaker in this kind of arena and New Thought, because there's really only one message, you know, and us as ministers, we're trying to find different ways just to say the same thing over and over again. I mean, there's really just one powerful message. However, I do know this, and how many people have experienced this? Have you ever read a book before? It doesn't even have to be a so-called spiritual book. It could be any kind of book. You read a book before, then you may pull it off the shelf, and you read it later, and you don't even recognize the passages because you were different. Because you were different. You know what I'm talking about? I've been studying A Course in Miracles for 23 years now, and it's a pretty hefty volume of words. And over the decades, you can tell when I read things because the color of the highlight that I had different highlights. I was like, oh, the green was in the 90s, you know. And then, you know, there's some orange and there's some yellow. And then I got crazy one time about that pack where you get like 15 different colors. And you know what I'm talking about, the highlights, and I'm crazy about it. And it never ceases to amaze me that some of these passages that mean a lot to me in A Course in Miracles that I read many years ago, I read again, and I know that I enjoyed them because they're highlighted. You know, maybe highlighted in 1997. But I read them and I go, that was not there before. There's no way that I have read that before. And the reason I feel that way is because it resonates with me in a deep, deep level. And that's because I have changed. The words themselves are the same. And I know that all of you have experienced this in some form or another. So the point I'm making about that is that, I mean, I know that our thoughts, words, and deeds create our reality. I mean, that's one of our principles of unity. I know that our imagination is powerful. I love the quote from Abraham Hicks that says, worrying is using your imagination to create something you do not want. I mean, I know that phrase. That's a bumper sticker. Worrying, think about this, you worriers. Worrying is using your imagination to create something you do not want. Now, I know all these things. I saw when The Secret first came out, I was so excited. And then what was that been like? Maybe that was 12 years ago or so. I was so excited that this movie, which was really well made and wasn't cheesy and, you know, like other things I had seen before, that was powerfully made and had all these great teachers, came out and was being accepted. It's such a mainstream. I think that the last thing I read is it sold like 20 million copies of The Secret. I even saw The Secret in Walmart, my God. I mean, The Secret in Walmart, can you imagine? So when you're in Walmart, something has happened. You've crossed the threshold of mass consumerism. And so I thought, wow, the law of attraction is now in the hands of all kinds of people. Oh my God, we're in trouble. No, really, I didn't think that. I was actually just very excited about it. And I watched the movie probably 5 or 6 times when I first saw it, just because I was thrilled, once again, that it was so well made, and it was, you know, put together well, and the music was well, and the editing was good, and I was like, yay, we're finally getting some good material out there, you know. And then finally things started getting Oprahized, you know, Eckhart Tolle and The Secret even got Oprahized. You know what I mean when something gets Oprahized. It takes it into like the next big level. So I know these things. We all know these things. If you're sitting in this room, you probably heard, probably 100 times, your thoughts, deeds, your imagination, or some word like imagination, we know that that creates our reality. Haven't you heard that before? But there still, for me, was a disconnect. Because if my life isn't a reflection of what I really, really, really want it to be, then something's not connecting. Something's not right. Because I believe that the true definition of freedom is this: doing whatever you want to do, with whoever you want to do it with, whenever you want to do it. That's freedom. Sound pretty good?
Yeah.
Sound pretty good? Doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it with, without having to think like, well, how much is in the account, or what's this person going to think, or are they going to think I'm crazy? Freedom is to be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, without any regards to all this. And that's my definition of what I want my life to be like. I want to live a free life. So I've questioned before, what's the disconnect? You know, I know this stuff. And I think one of the problems is that I know it too much. Some of these things we have heard so many times that they become like Charlie Brown's teacher. Remember? Wah, 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 wah. We've heard them so many times we begin to discount the basics of what they're saying, the principles of what they're saying. Because when I first heard that I could change my life by simply changing my thoughts and my intentions and my ideas, I almost jumped out of the ceiling. And I remember when it happened. It was sometime in the early 90s, although I was already doing a lot of reading, a lot of spiritual reading, because unfortunately what pushed me into what I call my spiritual awakening was when my friends, my people that I loved, started dying of AIDS. that's when I thought, okay, something in the world, what's going on? Like, there's something crazy going on here. And it jolted me into this rapid search for spiritual meaning. And that's what kind of started it all for me. And I started reading all these, books, everything I could. I ran into Louise Hay accidentally. Back then, long before the internet, you had to look in a pamphlet. Anybody remember this these days? You looked in a little pamphlet and you saw like a book and said, oh, that's cool. And you called and ordered it. Do you remember that? Anybody remember that at all? Do you remember when you used to have to go through your whole day and work or play or whatever you're doing and then go home and listen to the messages for the day and not know what anybody had to say until that moment? Do you remember those days? I really miss those days. Remember how nice it was? Just going on to the lunch. We can't even sit at a dang brunch now without somebody calling with some drama. Right in the middle of Eggs Benedict, somebody has access to us. Remember those simple days when you could go through the day and enjoy yourself and then go home and listen to the little answer machine? If you didn't like it, just press eject. Remember that? And I hear these stories about, like, if you're in a relationship, what was so great about it was, and some of you may have done this, is that, whoever you were in the relationship with, you would learn their code. So if you sent them a crazy message during the day where you was freaking out and insecure and jealous, you could sneak into the code and erase it before they got home. Some of y'all probably did that. Well, these are the days when you had to order, and I ordered another book. There was a book that I had looked in the catalog, and it was about a woman in New York City who had tested HIV positive, and it said through her mind and through spiritual understanding, she became completely healthy. I mean, not just today where, now with all the medications and stuff, you can become like what they call undetectable, but they said she was just not anywhere in her body. And that really intrigued me. And I started trying to find these books to give to my friends because at that time there were no drugs and it was freaking me out. I was like, all these people can't be like dying at 25 and 30 years old. It was freaking me out. But now I look back and it was the beginning of my spiritual awakening, and I tried to find this book. Back to the story. I was trying to find this book, and they accidentally sent me, by accident, Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. And at the time, I didn't know who Louise Hay was. Like, who is this? And I called and said, I got the wrong book, and they said, well, it's our mistake. You can just keep that book. That other book you're looking for is now out of print. But the guy even said on the other end line, you have whatever book you're supposed to have, you have it. Now I realized how wise he was. I was like, oh, my money back. That was during those days. But the point is, I've heard this stuff a lot. And I used to read this. There's a little magazine called The Science of Mind, which is still printed, and it's a great book. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can read it. Most people read things online. It's printed by the Centers for Spiritual Living. And it's an awesome, awesome little book. It's kind of like the Daily Word, but a little glossier, with more interviews and things like that. And I was reading The Science of Mind for years. I found one in a laundromat, and I was reading it and loved it and thought it was very interesting. And so the way I first heard this thought that our thoughts and deeds and intentions create our reality was because of the Science of Mind magazine, because a friend of mine in Nashville was saying, that little book you keep reading? There's churches that have this. And I was like, no, that's not true. Once again, the churches are now listed in the back of that book, but I didn't see it at that point. In the back of that magazine, every Center for Spiritual Living, or most of them, are listed, so you can find one. Jack wasn't ready to hear that, so Jack didn't see that. And my friend Tim, who's still one of my best friends, argued me down and said, there are churches that teach this stuff. I was like, you're crazy, you're nuts. There's no churches that teach this kind of stuff. This is a magazine. And I argued him down until finally, when I was ready, I took a sneak peek at the back, and there it was. At the time, it was called Religious Science of Nashville, and still in existence today, and this was in the early 90s. I remember going in there, and I wept, embarrassingly wept, because all I could think of, I found my home. Like, there was about 200 people there, and I thought, these people are of like mind. And I didn't know anybody else thought crazy stuff like I did. I didn't know that other people were using the principles of healing. I didn't know about the Fillmores. I didn't even know about Unity. I didn't know that people for many years had been using the principles of imagination and visioning and intention to heal themselves, not only of disease, but to heal themselves of all kind of emotional things. And I was sitting there, and I'll never forget, the band played, and I was just elated. And the talk was just exactly about what I needed to hear. Of course, just saying the basics that we talk about, that there's one powerful presence. That presence is within each of us, and we can use that presence for our good. We can also use it, and for the first time I heard this thought, which really freaked me out, and it took me a while to figure this out. Still trying to figure this one out a little bit. I remember him saying, the minister's name was Mitch Johnson, he just retired. He said that this God is impersonal. I was like, I don't like that. That sounds horrible. And he went on to explain that what this means is this powerful presence within you that you define as God gives you the power to use your vision, to use your imagination, to use your intention, to have whatever it is that you want in your life. As a matter of fact, you're doing it right now if you're aware of it or not. It doesn't matter if you're aware of it. And what it means by impersonal is that there's not a babysitter filter that says, this isn't good for you, you shouldn't do this. It just gives you what you put out there. And I heard that for the first time, and I couldn't even speak for a couple of days. I was so excited. But then I look back now, 30-something years later, I think if I would have told that Jack 30 years ago that I would still be figuring it out 30 years later, I would have just gave up. Seriously. How long have we known this stuff? Well, I'll tell you something. For me, I don't know about you, but for me and this church, we're moving into a new era. We're actually moving into a new stratosphere. Because I am ticked off. Ticked off in a good way. I am ticked off that we are not expressing ourselves in the highest and best and most prosperous way that we can. I am ticked off that many of you sit here today and struggle with things in your life, with your work, with your money, with your relationships. That's not what life is supposed to be about. It's time for us to do something about it. It's time for us to put these principles to work. I'm so sick of hearing about these principles. I don't want to hear anything else about it. It's time to do it. Anybody on board with that? Are you sick of hearing about this? I don't want to hear another talk about this until I'm living the abundant, prosperous, wonderful, creative life that I was meant to live. And this, for me, learning this visioning and this coming into Neville right at this point, nothing's a magic bullet. You might listen to Neville and go like, that's crap. The point being is that we're all on a different journey and things affect us differently at different times. But for me right now, his clarity about how powerful our imagination is and that we have to be on guard 24/7 is transforming me. I cannot wait to tell you about some of the things that I'm using my imagination to do. I'm not going to tell you right now, but it's mind-blowing. I'm putting this to the test because this is what he says about visioning. He said, don't pay attention to me. This is an experiment. Try this for yourself, but really try it. Don't half, but try it. I can't remember that. We're like, people are watching this online now. Don't half, but do it. Really do it. He says, do it and just experiment with it and see what happens. What do you have to lose? And that's what we're doing here at this spiritual center. Because when we had our short visioning a couple of weeks ago, some of you may have been here where we did like a 10-minute visioning to give you a sample of what our visioning is going to be like on June 1st, on Friday night. I really hope you can be here. It is the most important thing this church will ever do. June 1st, Friday night at 7 p.m. We are going to vision together and feel what it would actually feel like that if everything we wanted to happen in this spiritual center had already happened as if it is done. That's what faith is. Faith is acting like what you know is already in your powerful imagination has already happened. That's what Jesus did. There was no magic bullet for Jesus. He just knew and trusted his imagination so much. He knew that if he visioned something, there was not a chance that it wasn't going to happen. That's why we give great gratitude before we even ask. Because if you have that level of faith, there is absolutely no way that it's not going to happen. And when we did the visioning, that short visioning during the service a couple weeks ago, this is what I got. And it makes me very emotional to even talk about it. I mean, it touches me in a way that things haven't touched me before. Is that what I got in the vision? It wasn't anything that I expected. It wasn't about the building we were in or how many seats or and I want us to have a band and all these things, and we're moving towards all that. This was the vision that I got. It was simple. It said, there are people within a 5-mile radius, just right here. Just right here. I mean, I'm not talking about like some big global thing, just right here in Metairie and Kenner and right around here, that need to know this truth. They're struggling. They're sad. They're sorrowful. They're upset. They don't know what you learned in that church in 1990-something. They don't know that yet. They don't know that yet. And you're taking for granted something that's so powerful that it literally can change everything about your world and the world of everyone around you and the spiritual center. There are people right here in this neighborhood that do not know this yet. And that's what I got in the vision. That's why it feels so powerful for me, because the reason we are here is for service. We're not here trying to grow a church. I mean, who cares if we had some marketing scheme and had 400 people in here and had to get a new building? I don't want a marketing scheme. I want to change people's lives. I want to come here in service and finally let people know that don't know this message. This is the good news. This is the good news. That through your powerful intention and your imagination, no matter what is happening in your life, you can change it. And I forget that there's people on this street, on Richland Street, right here, maybe 3 houses down, that don't know this. There may be someone sitting there at the kitchen table now feeling like complete hopelessness. Like there's no way out. I don't know what else to do. Well, here we are. And the visioning makes us ready for those people. Because you know the old saying, I don't even know where it originates from. I think it's who originally said that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Where does that originally come from? Anybody? Paul, can you help me with that?
I think it was Siddhartha.
Okay, Siddhartha. Okay, Buddha. That's what I thought too. Well, the reverse is true too. When the teacher is ready, the students appear. It works both ways. And I had to question myself and say, are we really ready to do this? Do we have a structure? If all of a sudden our vision came true like next week and there was 1,000 cars in this parking lot, are we ready to handle that? No, we're not. We are not. We had to clean up house a little bit.
300 kids.
And yeah, 300 kids. Why not?
We'll make it work.
They'll make it work. It'll be a good problem to have. And the answer to that question is we still have some things to take care of. And we're doing that. Right now we have the board that we need right now. Even though we're still a little bit behind on our finances, if you look at what we bring in every week, it's enough to pay our bills and we're still playing some catch up. But to me, that's already happened. I mean, and we have a low crowd today, but you know what? You're here, and I'm grateful that you're here, and I love you hard, I swear to God. But I don't care if there was 3 people here today. The vision for me still holds clear, because the one thing that will destroy your vision is to look at the current circumstances and judge what your vision is based on that. And we all do that. And you need to stop it. You need to stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. If you're trying to create more abundance for yourself in your life, and abundance isn't just about money, that's just part of it. Abundance is about beautiful relationships that are loving and kind and beautiful. And money is part of that too. We don't leave that out of the equation. You cannot vision that in your imagination and in your meditation and then turn around and look at your bank account and go, oh my God, like how am I? You just stop it. Stop it. We have to stop that. It kills it immediately. That is like planting a seed of a beautiful sunflower and the very next morning going out and saying, that darn seed didn't come up and kicking up out of the ground. We've got to stop doing that. Stop it. Seriously, stop it. And to kind of close this up, I didn't even get to the fun part. We're going to get to that later. I guess I'll do that another time because I feel like I've been to church. I'm going to get some chicken and eat and start over again. That's what my dad used to do at our church. They'd go back and fry some chicken and we'd eat and we'd just start back over again. You think I'm joking? We'd be there like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we'd start the 6 o'clock service when it started. So this is the thing though. This is what real healing is. And this is why our imagination and our visioning is so important. And this is what one of the most powerful lessons that I learned from Myrtle Fillmore, who is our co-founder, who just kicked butt. This woman was out of control, wild. And I love her for it. She bucked every tradition in the late 1800s that a woman was supposed to be. You've heard me tell this story, but she refused to have a kitchen built in her house because she told her husband, I'm never cooking you a meal, so let's not even take up any space for the kitchen. And there was not a kitchen built in their house, no lie. She bucked all tradition, and this is what she did that impressed me so much, and this is something that most of us miss. Most of us miss this. This is it. This is the key. This is it. Myrtle Fillmore had tuberculosis, she had a spinal problem, she had all these maladies, she was always sick, she was a sickly child, and through a series of events, she healed herself of all those things. Not only just healed herself, but became a vibrant, living person that climbed 10 flights of stairs daily up at the tower at Unity Village, even in her 80s. So it's not like she just got better. She went beyond that and began to thrive. But this is the key. This is the difference. She didn't heal herself of tuberculosis. She healed her thought that the sickness was even necessary for a human to experience. Do you see how different that is? You can heal yourself of any disease that you have today, whatever you have in this moment. Sometimes it's in the hands of a doctor in medicine. It doesn't matter. Many people have used their minds, like Louise Hay completely rejected any kind of chemotherapy, and she healed herself with her mind. It doesn't matter. Anything that's helpful, you do. But until your mind is healed of the thought that sickness is even necessary, you're still in the same boat. And that's what Myrtle did that we missed. Everybody's so excited. She healed herself of tuberculosis. No, she didn't. She did do that, but she healed herself because she heard the statement that said, I am a holy child of God, therefore I did not inherit sickness. I am a holy child of God, therefore I did not inherit sickness. And we should say that every single day. Do you get what I'm saying? And this applies for everything. So what if you win the lottery? There's book after book after book about people that have a poverty consciousness that win the lottery, and guess what? It's all gone in a short time. Because their consciousness did not match up with what was happening in their life, and it was all lost. That to me shows that true healing, as far as finances, is not getting a big sum of money, but healing yourself of the thought that the holy child of God could even experience poverty. Think about that. You are the holy child of God. You are not meant to experience poverty. You think God is poverty-ridden? I don't think so. And that's where true healing lies, and that's what I'm experiencing now. For a long time, I learned a big lesson in closing with this. My mom, after 2.5 years since her passing, my mom's house finally sold. And there was some tension with family members, and it was not pretty. It was very stressful to me. I didn't talk about it a lot because I just wanted to deal with it in a way that was appropriate for me, but it was very stressful. And it finally sold. The kind of things in our family dynamic finally turned around, and I kept thinking to myself, whenever I get that money from the house, once I go to probate and I get my check, that everything's going to be good. How many times have we said that? You know what that is? That is making money an idol over the power of God that is within you. If you have in your mind right now, whenever this relationship works out, whenever I get this money, when I get that new job, everything's okay, you're going after a carrot that you are never, ever, you're going to be chasing that carrot the whole rest of your life. You're never going to get a bite of it. I learned that lesson because I started doing all this stuff with the money. I started spending the money and doing all this stuff. And because of some issues that happened with probate court, it's still taken a while and I still hadn't gotten it. But this beautiful thing happened between there and now is that the real healing happens that says, even if I didn't ever get that money and something happened and they said, well, now you're not even going to get it because a big monster came and ate it, or whatever story they might say, I would rejoice over that, because the point being is that I'm being healed of the complete idea that sickness and poverty and depression and sorrow are even necessary. They're not even necessary. They're wasted time. Now, if you're experiencing these things, I'm not trying to judge you, because believe me, I've experienced deep anxiety and depression in my life because of the way my church, I don't talk about this a lot either, but I will tell you that because of the way the church taught me about God, I hated myself so much that I spent years of anxiety, and my whole life was anxious and depression ridden. I know what that feels like. So I'm not trying to judge you if you're in that place, but I will tell you this, that is not your inheritance. That is not your inheritance. We have to, and you ask for guidance about this. I mean, sometimes we say, well, how am I supposed to do this? There's no you going to do it. God's going to do it. You have to be willing to say, I don't even know how to start healing this, whatever it is. But give me the knowledge and the wisdom and the step to do right now. There's something you can do right today. If you're dealing with something, there's something you can do like right now. And that's all you have to worry about. You just do right now what's next. Right now what's next. And you will be led and you will be guided. And that is what I know for us, that our vision extends way beyond the fact that we're going to vision and make unity and metairie this certain thing. Way beyond that we are here for a holy purpose, that we are here. I mean, we are here, God ordained for us to be here. I mean, there's a reason that why we're here. There's a reason that all these people have walked through these doors, and thousands more will as well. I already see it. To me, it's already happened. It's done. It's done. But we have to heal our minds with help from the Holy Spirit, that we deserve anything less than greatness, vibrant health, cash, whatever that means to you, wonderful relationships. We deserve to live in happiness. We deserve to live feeling joyful. And as I said earlier, for me, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm ready to do it. And if you're ready to join me on that, not only for us individually, but for our spiritual center, please plan to join us. And if you can't actually be here that night, I'm going to figure out a way. I don't know how to do it, but we're going to have a way to where your input can become part of what we're going to do. But the time has come. As I said, I'm tired of talking about this. It's time for us to step out and do it. And just like as an individual, whatever you're going through, you only can do the next step. Whatever you're going through today, wherever you are, ask for guidance and say, what can I do now? It may be pick up the phone and call somebody. It may be go visit. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but you'll know what to do, because there is a great source of wisdom within you that you can trust explicitly, that will always guide you to where you need to be. I want you to be as ticked off as I am about this, in a good way. Being ticked off can accomplish things. At least it can for me. I've cleaned many a house ticked off. I've thrown out many things that I no longer needed being ticked off. So this morning, I would like us to take a moment before we do our offering and go ahead and honor our world's religions. I think this is an important time in our life in our country because we can also vision and extend our vision not only to ourselves and to this community, to people around the world, as we recognize and honor that everyone is exactly where they need to be. And whether that be someone you know in your family, how we doing over there?
Trying to get it lit.
Blue one.
Let there be light.
Done.
There is light.
Just as we know this vision for ourselves, so can we see it in others. And that's why I love Unity so much, because, and it takes so much pressure off of us. We don't have to proselytize or go try to find anybody. I mean, that's not how this works. And that's what I was taught, but that's not how this works. Wherever anyone is on their spiritual path, that's where God is. Wherever anyone is in a relationship that you're with, whether it be in a family or a romantic relationship, the quickest way to find peace is allow them to be who they are. And so for the world and for the billions of people around us, may we see this presence. The same magnificent presence that's within us is within all living things. And in every religion, every lifestyle, every spiritual path. And so we take a moment to honor these spiritual paths, our world's religions.
Let us open our hearts and minds to accept the uniqueness of all. Native American practice is the path of honoring the earth and all beings. Shintoism is the path sensitive to nature's spiritual forces, honoring sacred spirits of ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Sufism is the path of daily communion with God. Christianity is the path of love and forgiveness. Taoism is the path of meditation and contemplation, focusing on the inner harmonies of the universe. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Judaism is the path of living by sacred law. Buddhism is the path of compassion, detachment, and mindfulness. Paganism and Wicca both see the sacred in nature as well as the individual soul and seek understanding of the evolution and mystery of the universe. And unity is the path of empowerment and change through our conscious co-creation with Spirit.
And this is what the Fillmores taught us. Through our vision, through our imagination, through our intention, our world appears before us. Everything you experience in your life today came from the imagination process of yesterday or the week before. Some of these things we've been carrying around for years, and it's just simply time to let them go. Many of these things are not even our own ideas. They're the ideas of someone else. Maybe a teacher, maybe our parents, maybe something at a church or a government or whatever. But it's time for us to create something new. And that comes from the visioning of our powerful self. The time has come to let go of those things that no longer serve us and step into the magnificence of who we are, not only as individuals, but as a spiritual community. And for knowing this, I am eternally grateful. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so we give today to this magnificent place we call Unity of Metairie, knowing that there is a flow of abundance that as we give, it comes back to us multiplied. We can never outgive God because there's an infinite source. God is the source and substance of our supply. And so as we give this morning, we give with a grateful heart. Grateful for this magnificent place. Grateful to know who we are. We are so blessed. And we give this morning by actively coming forth, bringing our offering to the box here, and also taking with you an affirmation to remind you throughout the day. And anyone that would prefer to give electronically with a credit or debit card bill is out in the Welcome Center where you came in, and is happy to take that from you there. As we realize that we are so blessed, we are so grateful, not only for what we have, but who we are. For that, we are eternally grateful. If you choose to stay seated, we have an usher that can meet you wherever you are. Just simply raise your hand. They will meet you there as we sing together in gratitude, giving of our hearts this morning. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We can say we are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so Thank you so much to everyone that gives to our spiritual community, not only tithes and offerings, but everyone that volunteers, that helps out in the office, that helps out with the kids. We appreciate Bill so much for all that he does during the week, keeping these floors clean. It takes a village to keep our place going. And it's going to take a bigger village when we get 1,000 cars in the parking lot, so put your seatbelts on. It's just thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here with us this morning and sharing your morning with us. As I said earlier at the beginning of the service, if you're here for the first time, please take home one of these packets that talks about unity, can answer any questions you may have, and let us know what you thought about the service by filling out this little card on the back. Also, like us on Facebook. I love to watch our Facebook family grows. It's even growing more now that we're live streaming. So thank you, everybody that's watching. Thank you for watching us today. But like us on Facebook. But if you're here for the first time, we welcome you and honor your presence here. And we sure hope to see you again. We have a lot of things going on here coming up. If you wouldn't mind, did everyone get one of these little sheets when you came in here? Hopefully you did. Please take this home with you to look over. It gives you, and it's just a little tiny sheet, so you don't have to take up a lot of real estate in your purse or wherever. But this tells you all about what's going on here. As I mentioned earlier, please mark in your calendar Sunday, June 10th. That is going to be Unity of Metary's 40th, I was going to say 40th wedding anniversary, but I don't know. That's kind of creepy. So 40th anniversary, we're going to have a huge birthday party on Sunday, June 10th. Okay, so let me tell you what's up. We're going to have a lot of fun things, some games. We're also going to have a potluck, and we're going to have a silent auction. So we now have a sheet, sign-up sheets for that in the Welcome Center. If you have something of value you can give to the silent auction, please sign up. It doesn't have to be a good. It can also be a service if you do massage or any kind of energy work or anything like that. But we will have a wonderful silent auction. It's always a lot of fun. Mercedes, 40-inch color televisions, whatever you can bring, just sign up in the list. Also, if you'd like to bring something for potluck, please sign up. We're just trying to make sure that we don't have 40 buckets of chicken and no green beans or something. So sign up what you can bring for potluck. Sign up for the silent auction. Most importantly, tell your friends. This is a good day to bring a friend for our big birthday party that will be on June 10th. And as I said, take this little sheet with you. Also on this sheet of importance, on the very first page, there's a rundown of our finances for the week. Please take a look at that as you think in prayer this week about what you can give to our spiritual community. That tells you exactly what came in and what our expenses are. Also, with Brenda or Paul, will you mind telling us about Tuesday and what's happening for our spiritual education night on Tuesday?
Tuesday night we're doing a class simply entitled Jesus and Buddha. We're going to look at, and I will continue this next Sunday too, actually. If you look at Buddhism and Christianity are two totally different religions that don't blend at all. Just for example, Buddhism, God is not an important aspect of Buddhism. Christianity, it's the main aspect. But beyond that, when you look at their teachings, it's a whole different ballgame.
Awesome. That sounds great. So the Jesus and Buddha comparison on Tuesday night. We appreciate Paul and Brenda for coming up with these great topics. Oh, Annabelle has emerged.
I'd like to put in a plug for the Tuesday night class.
Yes.
Brenda and Paul are fantastic teachers. I don't think there's anything they don't know. It's a very inspiring class, so I urge people to give it a try.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that testimonial, Annabelle. If you didn't hear them on Facebook, that was Annabelle doing a cheerleading routine about our Tuesday night spiritual education class. They do a great job, so please join them. The night after that is Wednesday night. It's our weekly faith lift, I call it. We're at 6 p.m. We do an hour of meditation. We follow that immediately with a discussion on A Course in Miracles, which has been a life-changing spiritual path for me. And actually, our Wednesday night spiritual discussion has turned into just a wonderful. If you're a spiritual seeker and you want to share spiritual ideas, it's a great time to come and just share. It's not a class. We all give our input and share ideas. But as I said, Wednesday night, 6 p.m. meditation. And we're going to start back to streaming that again this week. So if you're not able to come join us, you can also join us online at 6 p.m. and stay for the discussion after that. I know that Tony was going to mention, where'd she go? About our floors. Yes?
Yes. Saturday coming up, those of you who have volunteered and some who would still like to volunteer, we're getting together between 3 and 7, and specifically those hours because there's a class before and a class after. So please, if you volunteered, be on time. We're going to clean the floors and make this place shine for our anniversary.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. And is everybody on our newsletter list? If you're not, please make sure and sign up for that in the Welcome Center, because all these things we're talking about, you'll get that in an email form in your newsletter, just a reminder of all these things. But that's this Saturday, right?
Saturday the 26th.
From what time again?
3 to 7.
3 to 7, 3 to 7, 3 to 7, 3 to 7. Once again, as I said, I encourage you to take this home with you to remind you of this. Bill also has made, if you still like the old-fashioned way, the entire month calendar you want to put on your refrigerator. We appreciate all the work that he does to keep us all intact, knowing what we're all doing. One last but not least thing, June the 10th is our anniversary, 40th anniversary, June 1st, a Friday night at 7 p.m. Join us for our visioning. This is going to be a sacred, unique, it's probably something that you've never been to exactly like this before. But please plan to join us as we vision for catching a glimpse of what God has for us to do and being willing to take that step. So join us for that. I think that's it for today. Where are we going to lunch bunch?
Oh, we're going to Semolina's behind Target.
Semolina's. It's behind Target on the other side of the shopping center, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So join us at Semolina's. Do we have CDs today? We have CDs of today's service. I think I'm going to go listen to today's service. I'm going to listen myself. If you want to take this home to re-listen about the topic, the visioning, the imagination, how important it is, those are available in the bookstore for just $5. So pick those up. We're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to sing our Love Train song to end out today. So why don't you girls come and join me today? Everybody join in and sing with us. We all the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. We all the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Next stop that we make will be keep on riding, riding on through. Here we go. Give all the world, yeah, join hands, start a love train, love train. Give all the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. And all the brothers over in Africa. All the folks in Egypt, in please don't miss this train. I say, 'cause if you miss it, I feel sorry, sorry for you. Let's sing it out, y'all. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Let it ride, let it ride, let it ride, let it ride. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Feel all over the world. And we thank everyone that joined us today on Facebook. Thank you for joining us and being part of our spiritual family online. We're going to say today, before we head out, our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all